To connect with me, I'm John Malos on this Friday morning, live from the showroom floor at Ventura TV. You're watching us on Me TV. On the program today, two candidates running for assembly in District 23, VONG MOUANOUTOUA and David DeFRANK. They'll debate right here, live on our set on Connect with Me. Coming up.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Welcome back to Connect with Me. I'm John Malos on this Friday morning, live from the showroom floor at Ventura TV. And we're going to talk politics today. That's exactly right. Live here on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6 if you have an antenna. Today we're going to be talking to two candidates, VONG MOUANOUTOUA and David DeFRANK. They are running for assembly in District 23. There they are right there. We're going to talk to them in just a moment. But it is political day here on Comcast. The fact of the matter is there are so many issues to talk about. There is high-speed rail. There is the three strikes law. There are all these propositions. There are term limits. There's a lot to cover in a very short period of time here. You know that we only have a half hour. If you want to call the program and ask our two candidates some questions, you can call area code 559-265-4331. We'll put your call on the air, and hopefully they'll be able to answer any or all of your questions right here on Comcast 187. You're watching Connect with Me. We're going to be back in a moment with our two guests running for the Assembly District 23 seat, VONG MOUANOUTOUA and David DeFRANK. I'm John Malos, your host of Connect with Me. We're back in a moment with our two guests live.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Welcome back to Connect with Me. I'm John Malos. As mentioned, we've got two political candidates in our studio right now, and let's meet them. Let's just get right to it. VONG MOUANOUTOUA and David DeFRANK. And let me just explain just a little bit about their backgrounds. VONG was born in Laos, January of 1971. He and his family stood alongside America in fighting that secret war, of course, in Laos, trying to defeat communism, but eventually his family left all of those memories behind, and he arrived in this country in 1976. MOUANOUTOUA is well educated, got his degree, law degree from San Joaquin College of Law. He is now a teacher full-time at Fresno State and an administrative manager and reading at Reading and Beyond. In the meantime, David DeFRANK, somewhat of a native here of Fresno, a husband, a father, a businessman, was raised in a single-parent home after his father was tragically killed in a car accident. He graduated from Edison High, UC Davis, and has worked as a writer. He got his law degree. DeFRANK is now an attorney working for a law firm here in Fresno. Welcome to both of you. VONG, good to see you,
Welcome,
and David, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get right to it. And our call, well, we don't have a call now, but if you want to call in the program, it's 265-4331. High-speed rail. This project started at $32 billion, went up over $100 billion. Now they've slashed $30 billion from the projected price. Now it stands at about $68 billion. Are you in favor of light rail? Are you in favor of light rail? We'll start with you, VONG.
You know, the issue before us is how do we resolve the infrastructure or the growth of the population? And light rail is one of the potential solutions. But before I can be for light rail, it needs to make fiscal sense. And right now, it has not made any fiscal sense.
In what regards?
In the regards of how do we sustain it? How do we finance it? And with regards to, you know, if the numbers keep changing, will it keep changing again? but we do need to resolve the infrastructure. But we, sometimes we let the project itself decide what we're going to do instead of really talk about the big issue of how do we resolve the infrastructure in the future.
David, as we're going to take a look at some of this video here, high-speed animation of the high-speed rail, what's your take on high-speed rail at this point?
As you pointed out, John, the price tag on this project has fluctuated quite a bit, and we're now down to $68 billion as the most recent figure. But the fact of the matter is the most recent business plan from the High-Speed Rail Authority puts $42 billion of the financing on just funding that we hope we get from Congress. There's no specific allocation that's been made. It's just that we're kind of hoping that $42 billion comes in for the federal government. There's no reason to believe that it will, and it just shows that the shaky financial ground that this project is on means that we need to kill it now before we spend another couple $100 million studying different possibilities and paying consultants before we've even broken 1 foot of ground.
Vong, if it does get built, how long will it take?
For it to be built?
How long do you think? What's your guesstimate? Are we looking 10, 15, 20 years down the road?
Well, the projection is almost 15 years. And so I hope that the EIR does not lead into a CEQA suit, and then we don't know how long that'll take. Me sitting on the planning commission, Walmart was supposed to be, not Walmart, but the project at Herndon and Clovis was supposed to be built 8 years ago, but it took 8 years for a simple project on a corner.
What would it take to change your mind about light rail? Would the price have to come down?
No, as long as it's sustainable, I will be for it.
Meaning what?
That we will have the funds to begin the project, and not only that, as we start, that investors or the public or the High-Speed Rail Authority can show that the numbers can fit. Because, being fiscal conservatives, we're going to look to make sure that the dollars match up.
And what about you, David? What will it take to change your mind, to go the other way, to be totally in favor of light rail?
It would take quite a bit. We need to have our water infrastructure in this state completely handled, which is just simply not the case. We need to have a good way to get water around the Delta, for example. We have too many other priorities that we need to get done first. We need to make sure education is fully funded. We need to look at how we're going to get water around the Delta in a way that can comply with Endangered Species Act. And so until we have some of those higher priorities, the more core functions of government, like getting water to its citizens, only then would I even start to look at something like this. All
right, let's change the subject now from high-speed rail, because we're not going to solve that here, and we don't really know what's going to happen. There are so many people in favor of it, including Supervisor Henry Perea, but there are others that are against it. Mayor Swearingen is in favor of high-speed rail. We'll have to wait and see what happens. In the last day or so, we found out that the proposal to change the California legislature from a full-time position to a part-time position will not make it on the November ballot. Somewhere between 200,000 or 300,000 signatures have been collected thus far, but they need more than 800,000 to get on the ballot by July 2nd. Not going to happen. The drive is going to continue, and it could make the ballot for 2014. Of course, this was spearheaded by Shannon Grove. She's a Republican out of Bakersfield. Where do you stand on this issue? I'll start with David this time.
Yes.
Yeah, I support a part-time legislature. I think that if we have a legislature where our legislators are spending, 1 month voting on bills, and then the next month they're out in the real world trying to live under the rules and regulations that they've enacted, then maybe they're going to, understand in a more practical level how their laws and their conduct up in Sacramento affects everyday Californians.
Vong?
Speaking first of all, just from a personal standpoint, I think many of us, especially us younger, going up to Sacramento, we have families. So for us to be able to be in the district closer to our young children, that is also a positive, and that is a reason why I would support something like that. But not just that. It is just fiscally more responsible for us because we are one of 4 states that has a full-time legislature, and we are in the minority in that. And if all the other states can function that way, why can't we function with a part-time legislature as well?
We're the largest state in the union. I don't have a position on it one way or the other, but as part-timers, how do you solve California's budget deficit and all the other fiscal problems working part-time?
I think as part-timers, we will only go to resolve the biggest issues instead of, how much legislation that we push every year as the legislatures, way too much. Back again, if we are back in the district more, the public now will have a better sense and a better trust in the legislature. Our ratings are so low that I think being involved in the community much more, the work of the legislature will be much more respected.
David?
Yeah, well, there are various iterations of the part-time legislature proposal. One of them is that we'd go to a 2-year budget cycle, so that every 2 years, we'd spend an entire session on the budget. So, I mean, I understand that, you're exactly right in your point that the budget takes quite a bit of time to deal with. And so I think that does get addressed in some of the proposals that have been out there. And, I'm not overly concerned that, I think there may need to be some discussion on exactly how long the legislature is in session, whether it's 90 days, whether it's 4 months, or...
Before we go to break, let's address one more thing, and that's the 3 strikes measure. It looks like to revise this thing, it's going to go to the November ballot. They have over 830,000 signatures. All they needed was about 504,000. Under the proposal, only offenders convicted of a 3rd strike felony, that is violent in nature, would face a minimum sentence of 25 years to life. So that's a big change as to what's happening now. And it would also allow some offenders currently behind bars under 3 strikes to seek resentencing. In favor of this or not?
Yes, I am in favor of this.
To change it?
To change the current 3 strikes.
You don't like the way 3 strikes is now?
I think the intent is well written, but because of how it has been used, a current felony now, someone for a drug offense now is put in for life. And so I think many times the intent has been, I guess, misused.
Right.
And
so again, you're in favor of revising
yes,
3 strikes. David?
No, I oppose that. I think that clearly citizens who have been engaged in 3 felonies have just shown an utter disregard for the rules we have in society, and they need to be punished accordingly.
Okay. Voters rejected a similar measure, you might recall, back in 2004. You're in favor, you're against. I appreciate your time. We got to take a commercial break. We're back in a moment here with our 2 guests, VONG MOUANOUTOUA, DeFRANK, and we're going to be back with more of Connect with Me in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Frigidaire Gallery Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. You with me? Right now get huge savings on select Frigidaire Gallery appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months at the hometown low-price think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
It's your community here on Connect with Me TV Fresno, and we are live from the showroom floor, Ventura TV. VONG MOUANOUTOUA, thank you for being here. David DeFRANK, thank you for being here. 2 candidates, of course, running for the 23rd seat, Assembly seat in District 23. Let's get right to the questioning here. A new poll out by the Public Policy Institute of California shows that California voters are inclined to support Governor Brown's sales tax, income tax hike as well. 54% say yes, 39% say no. What say you, David DeFRANK?
No, to be simple. I think that, again, it comes down to priorities, and you look at, do we need to be spending $68 billion on a high-speed rail project, or do we need to be keeping taxes where they're at? They're already high enough. I mean, really, I think the debate needs to be raising taxes versus cutting them. Rather, the debate in Sacramento right now is how much should we raise taxes by, and I think that's not only, I think it's the wrong debate.
Vong?
No, that's the simple answer. Because I think many times we expect families, businesses to live within whatever the income that they have. Yet in government, we don't hold that same standard. And so we have to hold ourselves to that same standard instead of taxing everyone to try to meet our needs. We have to prioritize what we should spend on. And if it's not enough, then we have to cut.
Governor Brown says, hey, if we have these tax hikes, a sales tax and income tax, we're going to save our schools. Our public schools need the money. Anybody, pick it
Yeah.
up.
Well, yeah. I mean, in 2008, for example, about 23% of the tax liability in the state was borne by sole proprietorships. So if we're and then in 2011, businesses left this state at the rate of about 5 per week. So if we keep raising taxes, keep piling up the burdens on businesses, they're going to leave, and it won't matter what tax rate we're at. We're not going to be able to get money from anyone.
So you don't believe Governor Brown saying it's going to save schools?
No, I think that is not right for politicians to use those sort of games. For example, we'll cut senior programs if you don't, cut here or you don't raise there, and that's ridiculous. I mean, if we prioritize education, we will fund it, whether the income is 100% or if it's 50%. That's where the money's going to go. So for us to wave this around and say you guys are choosing to cut education, that's ridiculous.
Right. As you know, Governor Brown came out with his budget proposal back in January. It made gigantic headlines, of course, and he wants to cut into the state deficit. The governor targeted the schools and welfare programs. He wanted to slash them, including education. He got some heavy criticism for that, as well as the proposed tax hike. And so he wants to cut into the deficit from 19.2 down to $4.2 billion for the 2013-14 fiscal year. Do you think that's possible, and do you agree with the way that he wants to cut into the deficit? We'll start with you, Vong.
Coming from Governor Brown, I commend him for the boldness to do that, because I think that is something not expected.
You agree with the cuts then in education and welfare and health programs?
See, many times when we look at the current budget, what happens is we get used to it. So we think we can operate at whatever the current number is. So we never look to tie down to cut, all the excess fat. Look at any branch of government, and I guarantee you we can cut excess fat or excess spending, because when we do that, then we'll go, okay, we can operate at that level.
David, the governor says he wants to cut that deficit from $19.2 billion down to $4.2 billion for the next fiscal year. Can he do it, and is he doing the right thing?
Well, I think that obviously the proposal is very broad, and so I think we need to look at each element on whether or not it's good or not. So, for example, under CalWORKS, the California Welfare Program, he wants to reduce your lifetime cap that you can be on CalWORKS from 4 years to 2 years unless you're working 20 to 30 hours. I think that's the right way. We need to move in that direction, and I commend Governor Brown for that. He also, in education, wants to reduce some of the restrictions on funding. Right now we have a lot of categorical grants that require school districts to spend money in certain ways, and he wants to get rid of those. So those are some of the examples of things I support.
Quickly, yes or no, do you support the cuts in education?
No.
You?
No.
No. Okay, we're clear on that. David, you have said that if you're elected, that you will not accept the $29,000 a year that each Assembly member and Senate member receives per year, per diem. Will you stick to that promise? Because if all 80 Assembly members and 40 senators did the same, about $3.4 million a year would be saved. Are you willing to stick to that promise after you get into office, if you're elected?
I sure am. And of course, $3.4 million is a lot of money, but even beyond that, it's about trust. And I think that constituents have lost the trust in their legislatures and against the legislature in whole. So I think that it's about starting with ourselves. I think a lot of people look at legislators who are saying, state workers are engaging in this pension spiking, but then they're doing their own kind of per diem spiking by, holding phony sessions on a Friday so they can get per diem all day on a weekend, and we need to put an end to that.
The proposition, or the per diem, $29,000 a year, what are you willing to do with it? Give it back to the state? Taxpayers. Give it back to the taxpayers.
When you come from poverty, $90,000 is plenty to do your job.
Right.
And so, everybody wants more money, but when that money can be used elsewhere, can be another salary, can be another position in which or another place where we can place that money, that's no problem for me at all. Not
Quickly,
difficult.
we're running out of time. Why do you think so many people in California, including here in the Central Valley, are not happy with their state legislators? David, let's start with you quickly.
Well, I think one of the things we just went over, which is the per diem abuse. They will hold a phony session on a Friday. It happened this Martin Luther King Jr. Day this year. It cost us $70,000.
Yeah.
And so that's just something we need to end.
Vong?
I think we no longer work together. And so
no cooperation.
No cooperation, no collaboration, no talk. It's always this party's way or that party's way.
Right.
And when we do that, the people get hurt.
We got to take a commercial timeout. David DeFRANK, VONG MOUANOUTOUA, stick around. They're running for Assembly, District 23. We're going to be back with more of Connect with Me here on Comcast Cable 187 in just a moment.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Warning, warning. Danger, danger. A strange world is on Me TV.
A world somehow like ours, but of incredible darkness and fear.
What is the show called?
It has been called many different names by many different cultures.
Oh, I know. It's called Lost in Space. Saturday at 8, 7 Central on Me TV.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified, ready steam equipped, high efficiency Frigidaire affinity place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Frigidaire laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Hit me again.
Chief, I think we got a hit on our
Me TV Fresno, now on Comcast Channel 187.
Welcome back to Connect with Me. I'm John Malos here on the showroom floor with Kong Her and talking about a deal here at Ventura TV with a washer and a dryer. Let's start with the washer first, Kong. You're talking about having an automatic temperature control. That's kind of a special feature on this one here, isn't it?
Right. Thank you, John. Today we're here to talk about the washer and dry pair from Mana, which is also owned by Whirlpool. Okay. You mentioned about the automatic temperature control. Yes, it does have that. Basically, what that does is that it monitors and adjusts the water temperature as it comes in. So no matter what temperature you set in, what comes in, it's going to be able to still keep its performance. For example, it keeps warm water at a temperature where it's good for cleaning. It also keeps the cold water at a temperature where it also dissolves the detergents properly.
And it has an extra gentle cycle on there.
Yes, that is also another unique feature that most normal washers of this style and category don't have. And basically what that does is that with this feature, it's going to be able to spin at a slower speed, which that's going to do is allow to clean your delicate items. And when you clean with this one, you're going to be able to have your delicate items last longer and saving your trip or two to the clothing store. Okay,
how about the dryer here?
Yes, the dryer here basically, as long as the washer has a gentle cycle, the dryer also has a automatic temperature dryness control. It's going to measure the dampness of the clothes as it's being dry. So when it's done drying, it stops. It doesn't continue on to use heat. This is going to save you even more energy and money as well.
So they're both kind of energy savers in a way. It's going to save on your PG&E bill.
Yes, definitely. Both good energy save. Also, another thing is that with this pair that if you buy at Ventura TV, you're going to be able to get this dryer, which we have in both electric and gas. So with the gas options, you're even going to save you more money on top of that as well.
All right. Both the washer and dryer made by Amana. What are you talking about in terms of price, Kong?
In terms of price, our regular price is $858. Ventura has this for net price of $699. On top of that, we're offering the ASA warranty 10-year on the washer motor and also 10-year on the heating element for the dryer.
For $699.
Yeah, this is a value of $160. Yes, the ASA is a bonus value. The net price is $699.
Right, but this price here for both of them would be $699.
That is correct. Yeah.
All right. How does that compare to the other stores around town?
Well, nobody other store can compete with us on this unit price here. In fact, the only other store that have this particular pair is Home Depot. We have ours at $699 compared to their price at $718 and 10 cents. With us, you're going to save about $20, and with that savings, you can go buy yourself an extra T-shirt, or you'll put into your kids' college fund.
Yeah. Plus, you'll have that 10-year warranty, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Special for our Connect with Me viewers here on Comcast Cable 187. Kong Her, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And of course, that's good until tomorrow noon, right here at Ventura TV. How do you get here? Hey, it's easy. We're only 10 minutes from River Park if you want to come down Highway 41. We're 10 minutes from Clovis if you want to come down 168. And, of course, if you're taking Highway 99, a very simple jaunt to get off the freeway, hit Ventura Avenue, 3619 East Ventura Avenue, good through noon tomorrow, the washer and dryer from Amana. Back with more of our conversation, politics, Assembly District 23, our two candidates in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
MeTV's real detectives don't need to go high-tech.
There might have been some sort of special tool required, you know what I mean?
They don't need smartphones.
We're in business. They're coming your way.
They don't need email.
I don't need a program to figure out why.
They don't need the internet.
You didn't really just pick my name out of the phone book.
It's in the yellow pages.
They solve crimes the old-fashioned way. Kojak, The Rockford Files. Weekdays on MeTV. Brought to you by Ventura TV.
Welcome back to Connect with me. I'm John Malos. This is VONG MOUANOUTOUA, David DeFRANK. They're running for the Assembly seat, District 23. And really, there is no incumbent in this district right now, is there?
No. Dr. Honerman is not seeking re-election.
Right.
Yes.
She's not seeking. And we should say that I tried to contact Richard Rojas. I have no idea how to get in touch with him. So if he's watching, he can come on the program. Bob Wayland, haven't heard back from him. He's also running for the seat, so he's welcome to come on. Did not get a response from his press secretary, nor did I get a response at all from Jim Patterson, the former mayor of Fresno. He's also running for this very same seat. So to be fair to these two gentlemen, I just had to mention that. So let's get into some of these propositions. 2 on the ballot for June the 5th, only 2 for the primary. Prop 28. That says that reduces the amount of total time that a person may serve in the legislature from 14 years down to 12. Do you favor it?
I do. I think term limits are a necessary evil given how our districts are drawn unfairly.
What do you mean necessary evil?
I think when and if we had fair districts in this state, then elections themselves would be term limits, and I wouldn't support them.
Are the districts unfair now?
I believe that they are. I believe, unfortunately, even though we had the Citizens Redistricting Commission draw the lines rather than the Democrat legislature, we still didn't get entirely fair districts, I don't believe. We'll get to know that as this cycle goes forward. But I think term limits are a necessary evil at this point.
Vong, your response?
No, I'm not in favor of Proposition 28. I don't believe that the intent is what it's saying. And when propositions are written in such a way that is deceitful, I think that many times the citizens are misled. And so Proposition 28 is not something I'll be in favor of.
Okay, quickly, quick answer from both of you. Prop 29 on the June 5th ballot imposes additional 5% tax, or 5-cent tax, I should say, on each cigarette distributed, and equivalent tax increase on other tobacco products. So basically, this is a tax hike on tobacco products. Do you favor it?
No, I don't. I don't believe many times that when citizens or propositions have a fiscal item in it, many times we don't look at the true calculation of where it's going to go, how it's going to be funded, where it's going to be used. And many times, if you just look at government using the marketing fund, it goes way out of proportion. If we just take that out, we would save so much in all the budgets.
David, quick response because we're running out of time. We got 1 minute.
No, I do not support it, and I think a new tax is the last thing we need right now.
Okay, a 10-second spiel from both of you. Final statement, 10 seconds. What would you like to say?
I would say, thank you for bringing us here, and also I would love your support and your vote this June 5th.
Okay, David?
Yeah, I think one of the things that separates me from some of the other candidates is that I haven't spent my life in elected office, and I think that voters will respond to that well.
Okay, I wish we had an hour, guys.
Yeah.
You guys are excellent, both of you. VONG MOUANOUTOUA, appreciate it. Good luck to you in the campaign.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, David. Good luck to you in the campaign, and thank you both of you for showing up. I appreciate. You can watch the replay tonight at 7:30 here on Comcast Cable, channel 187 and 43.6 if you have an antenna. We're going to be talking more about the June 5th primary as we get closer to Election Day. On Monday on the program, George Mason.